Yo, 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 and welcome back to Creeps and Crimes
Podcast.
I'm Taylar.
I'm Morgan. Happy Thursday and happy episode 267.
267. I literally had to ask Morgan 3 times what number we're on.
Back.
I'm
Taylar.
back. Hi, everybody.
Jane.
I'm back. So I know for the people that aren't on Instagram or have just joined us from And That's Why We Drink and are starting from the beginning, you're not fucking supposed to.
I know. And if one of you leave her a fucking bad review one more
Again,
time, I'm actually tracking the IP.
No.
Because now's not the time to
And guys, this is not the time because I have been so down. I had to turn off the emails and everything. Obviously, I've been horribly down bad. I've been going through a lot. So I want to talk about what I'm ready to talk about, and I don't want anyone to think that I'm not being super emotional or anything, but you guys know me and Morgan have always talked about how we handle bad situations is through awkward laughs and dark humor. I won't do that to you guys just yet. Not yet, too soon. But for those who aren't on Instagram and haven't seen my posts on there, or just maybe are new to us and happen to be following right now, I wouldn't say that this is the episode you should start with.
Yes.
Because there's a lot that's going to be in this. I'm not going to hide what happened because I want to talk about him and I want to talk about the situation because not many people know that this is actually a thing. I'm grateful that I actually knew a little bit about what happened to me, and so it wasn't so confusing when it all went down. And I also had amazing medical team with me. Hey guys, just before we get into this, I'm going to give you a trigger warning for pregnancy and infant loss, miscarriage, very much in detail about my experience that I have been going through over the last 3 weeks and being very just open and candid about it. So if you guys would like to skip the time stamp to get to the episode and miss all of this, so that way it's not triggering for someone, will be in the show notes below, but it should be around the 30-minute mark-ish, depending on what is left in and what is taken out. But just after my 27th birthday on June 27th, and just before mine and Logan's 5-year wedding anniversary, so July 4th, we found out that I was pregnant, and Morgan was the one who actually knew it before
just
me.
A little witchy.
Because you guys know that we are synced on our cycle. Well, we were synced on our cycles completely. And then she was like, I started my period and you always start 2 days before me. You need to take a test. And I was like, I took a test the day after my birthday because I realized that my period didn't come on my birthday. And it was negative. So that Monday, FaceTime turned. I was like, I'm not doing this alone. You have to be here with me.
And I just made an ice cream cone.
She did. And it's the funniest video ever. I took a test and it was positive, and I found out I was pregnant, and I was really, really shocked and scared. Not that I was shocked because me and Logan knew what we were doing, but I didn't expect it to happen as quickly as everything happened. My first trimester was great. I didn't have any morning sickness. I didn't have any nausea. Any typical pregnancy symptom that they talk about, I did not have that.
Right.
So I immediately went to my doctor's appointments, and we got it all confirmed, and I made a plan with my Adderall to start weaning myself off of it, which also does a mental thing. So despite the fact that I had a really beautiful first trimester, I struggled a lot with prenatal depression in my first trimester that was just really weird. And Morgan, if you listen back, Morgan's I'm scared of Taylar today, and I was mad. I had this rage inside of me,
and that's also a lot of the reason behind all of our sorry guys, we just can't today.
We can't today.
It was
a lot.
Taylor's really, she was scaring me.
It was scary because,
have you told your doctor what you're feeling right now?
And of course, just because how women's health is oh, that's normal. You're fine if you're having any trouble when you get into your second trimester, we're gonna we'll get some medicine and all this stuff. Another thing I just want to comment on, because I don't want to ever lie to you guys about my experience with anything. I did really struggle with the bodily changes that were happening, so that really did play a part into the mental case that I turned into. I mean, you have to think that was the key part of us launching season
Photo
6.
shoot,
we had just joined
studio
Parapods.
reno.
We did the studio reno. We were doing all of these crossovers. And in the midst of that, we were trying to, me and Morgan were making plans of how are we going to do a maternity leave. So me and Morgan planned to record 16 episodes. I was going to give you 16 Thursdays. Morgan was going to go solo on TBBs with like me kind of popping in whenever I could. We had this whole plan and it was great. And like everything was going really well.
And in true Taylar Morgan fashion, we were pushing it.
We were pushing it. We did. We pushed those pre-recordings for maternity leave 100%.
Because season 6 launch was
crazy
right there.
And we were also doing all those crossover. I mean, it was just a lot. So, you know, we switched the rooms, and the reason that we switched the studios the way that we did is because I needed a bigger bedroom because I was going to have baby in the bedroom with us. We only have a 3-bedroom house, and both me and Logan work from home. So our plan was, you know, for the first year, baby will be in our bedroom, and then we'll figure that out.
And we actually weren't even going to change the studio this year.
We weren't even going to change the studio. So, you know, everything happened. We moved everything. It was crazy. And all throughout, like, I just had baby was growing great. Baby was super healthy. All the tests came back beautiful. I was doing really good. Second trimester hit. I lost that like mental fog that I was in. I was getting a lot more comfortable with weaning off the Adderall, which was a major part of it. And then I finally like started letting myself get excited about everything, because also, you know, up until like 12 weeks, you're really being like, okay, like you don't want to announce before then or do anything. And I also wanted to keep it as low key as possible with no one knowing, because, you know, like when you're listening to someone or like you follow someone on social media and stuff, you're like, Jesus Christ, this bitch has been pregnant for 35 years, you know? So we were like, okay, we'll just hold out. And our plan was right after my anatomy scan, we were going to announce. So me and Logan went on our baby moon to Cape Cod, Boston, Salem, Nantucket, and it was so amazing. We weren't going to find out the gender of the baby or the sex of the baby. That was our plan, that we weren't going to, because you guys know I've always said I've never wanted to know. But because of the struggles that I had, I was like, okay, we're going to find out. We did it in Nantucket. We found out that we were having a little boy, and we called Morgan. It was all on a baby moon vlog that will never see the light of day other than just for us to see now, just because it makes me sad whenever we watch it back. Now it makes me happy. I actually watched it back last night just to make sure I was okay.
I know. I really contemplated downloading it and removing it off Descript.
No, I like it. I like seeing it. And then we came back home on Sunday, and I had just like from the trip, we had walked a lot, like on Nantucket. We didn't take our car over there or anything. So we had walked a lot. So I was just really sore. And also from the flight, I just had like a lot of pressure in weird places, and I didn't wear compression socks like you're supposed to. So I was like having these like weird little symptoms that I was like, you know what? Wednesday morning was my anatomy scan. So I was like, I'll just hold off. And I even like texted Morgan that morning. She's like, are you excited? I was like, I'm excited to see him, because I hadn't seen him since 9 weeks. He was going to look like a whole real baby now, you know. Me and Logan were like kind of throwing names around the entire time, but the only single one that we had like semi agreed on was when we were on the ferry coming back from Nantucket. We had just found out that he was a boy. There's this older woman group behind me. It was like probably like 10 older women, and they were fucked up. They had drank all day. They were drinking on the ferry. They were so
straight out of Martha's
funny.
Vineyard.
It truly was. They were so funny, and they were singing like "Hit the Road, Jack, don't you go?" And I was like, I love the name Jack Fetzner. I think that's such a cute little name. But Logan's middle name is James. My middle name is Jane, and those are family names. So we had always known that our boys' middle names will be James and our girls' middle names will be Jane, at the very least, our first of both. And I was like, I don't think Jack James works really good together. So I was like, Jackie James is cute, and then he could be Jack when he's older if he wants to be. So I like mentioned it to Morgan, but I was like, nobody call him that. And I even got mad at Logan on Wednesday morning when we were going to the doctor, because he's like, I'm excited to see Jackie. And I was like, don't give him that name yet, because we don't know if that's going to be his name. And you guys know, like, I'll never name a baby unless I'm like looking at that baby and being like, okay, that's your name. So went to the appointment, and we went in for the anatomy scan, and I was okay, on record, I was 18 weeks and 4 days. I had known the entire time I was 19 weeks and 5 days. Like,
they pushed you back around.
They had pushed me,
right? 12 weeks
at the 8 week, the first appointment, because he was measuring kind of tiny. And then at this one, he was measuring 19 weeks and 5 days. So they were about to move up his due date, which I was excited for because I was like, I was fucking right. Duh. I'm right. I know my fucking baby. I know my body. Like, duh.
Right on Auntie's birthday.
Yep. Right. He was literally, we always were like, he's going to be born on Morgan's birthday. We just know it. He's going to be a Pisces for sure. He was going to land in the Pisces season. So we were like, that's so funny. Like, I'm reincarnating Morgan. And so they did the ultrasound first and he looked beautiful. Like I'm gonna cry talking about him, but he was so perfect. Like there was nothing wrong. He was just super healthy. He'd moved all the time. Like I literally made jokes all the time that he was just like Logan because I had started feeling him at 14 weeks constantly. Like I had felt him move a ton. He was always up in my like right hip. Then on Monday when we got off the plane, I even mentioned to Logan, I was like, I feel like he's moved a little bit. And Logan's like, well, he's bigger now, so you probably feel him in more places. And I was like, yeah, that's probably what it is. And that was one of the things that I thought was weird. And my back pain had gone away. So, and I had had back pain literally since the day I found out I was pregnant. Like the entire time my back was killing me. You know, we're measuring him and we're counting on all his fingers and toes and we're looking at his spine and everything's perfect. And his heart was strong and he was moving the whole time. And I had an anterior placenta, so it was on the front, and he had his face buried in it the whole time with his hand up, his right hand always on his face, always. And even when he was tiny, he always had his little hands up as like close to his face as he could. I could tell from the way that she was, you know, had the like ultrasound Doppler on me, he was low. And I even like kept making comments about it. I was like, oh, he's pretty low. And she's like, yeah, he's pretty low, but you know, the ultrasound tech can't say anything. So then she was like, can we switch to transvaginal just for a second? I just want to see if I can get a better picture of his face. And I was like, okay. And the second it popped up on the screen, I could see that my cervix was open. I don't know how I knew that's what it was, but I just knew. Like, obviously, I've never taken a fucking medical course a day in my life. I said to her, I was like, oh my God, my cervix looks like it's open and he looks really low. I need to talk to my doctor because I've been having some weird symptoms and everything that I Googled said that this could be the worst of it, but it's probably not that.
Yep.
My doctor came in. I repeated everything that I had concerns about to her. And she was like, her words were, I'm concerned. I need to do an exam on you. And she said, this is what it could be. And if it is this is going to be our game plan. And that's ended up being what it was. She put the speculum in me and immediately she could see that my amniotic sac was bulging. And I was dilated like 4 to 5 centimeters at the time. And what this is an incompetent cervix. So this is when just, you know, baby gets a little too heavy for your cervix, that it's weakened for whatever reason. You can be born with one. It could happen based off of like a past trauma. I was more than likely born with it because I've not had anything that anyone would see as a flag of concern. It's something that you don't know until it's happening. And if you catch it in time, that's great. And if not, then the situation like mine happens because 6 centimeters is active labor, no turning back, you know? So she explained all this to me and she said, you guys need to get to the hospital right now. We have labor and delivery triage waiting for you. And we're going to try to place a rescue cerclage, which is when they put like a drawstring on your cervix, which is a stitch essentially, to close it back up. And then hopefully you will be able to carry to full term or at least 36 weeks. So that was what we were hoping for. So we went to the hospital. I had called our good friend McKenna, who has worked there for many, many years and still does. She immediately on her day off met us at the hospital. Literally, I couldn't have done anything without McKenna because I was so scared and like had no idea what was happening. And she always just like slowed everything down for me and made sure that I was fully aware of what was going on and like what was happening. But I didn't care. You guys know me, like, I don't have a fucking medical degree. If you would have asked me, my birth plan this entire pregnancy was survive and baby survive. And that was it. So we went in and they were waiting on us. And immediately they explained to me Trendelenburg and my fucking ass couldn't understand what the fuck they were saying. So I was like, Lindenberg, put me in Lindenberg, please, which is where they put you at like pretty much upside down, like a 45-degree angle to your head goes below your cervix to try and get gravity to pull the amniotic sac back in because baby wasn't out yet, but the sac was. So I laid in extreme. They were like, you're gonna pass out. And I was like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
truly.
Taylor was like, put me in a handstand.
I literally said, if you need to hang me upside down and knock me out. Like, we'll do whatever we need to do. A lot of like just weird things that happened that morning where I didn't want to eat breakfast. And Logan was like, why do you not want to eat breakfast? And I was like, I don't know, just in case they needed a fasted lab on me. I didn't want to eat. And thank God I didn't eat, because if they were going to do the emergency rescue cerclage, it was going to need to happen with me being put under that day or the next morning. So the second we got into the hospital room and they put me at that angle, I started taking off all my jewelry. It took me like 2 weeks to put back on my jewelry. I took off all my jewelry. I couldn't get my fucking forever bracelet off. I was freaking out about it. I took up everything. I had it all handed over and put up, and I was like, okay, well, when you're ready to take me back, let's go. I'll hang upside down. Until then, my parents and my sister immediately started heading up this way. Morgan had to immediately, because that morning, it was a Wednesday, it was our editing day, and we had actually just announced you guys on that episode that was supposed to come out that I was pregnant. And that day after the anatomy scan, I was planning on announcing it on Instagram. So I had the video on my phone. We had watched it 1,000 times. We edited the baby moon vlog for Patreon. It was all ready. So Morgan had to get off work and immediately go and get the Patreon that you guys heard and make an intro for it and start planning for worst case scenario. And thank God, I can't talk about Morgan too much, because
please don't.
I'll literally fucking cry. But like, you know, just like, thank God that there were things that I didn't even have to worry about. There was not even questions that I had to worry about. So I was in Trendelenburg for 5 hours. I had been contracting. And so, which I couldn't even feel it, guys. Like, I didn't even know that I was even having contractions. So they were like, let's see if we can slow down these contractions, because if we can't stop them, then we cannot do an emergency or rescue cerclage, because it'll tear you wide open and we risk then me hemorrhaging. That was hard, because you had to, you know, weigh like, okay, well, if it could help, if it could stop them, can we do it? But then I risk my life, which was a hard conversation to be having as someone who was, you know, finally really, really excited about being a mom and feeling like I was capable. Because you guys know, for all these years, I've always wondered if I would even be capable of being a good mom. And so I finally felt confident that I could. And these moments just reaffirmed it, because in all of these questions, I was really wanting to do everything in my power, and doctors did everything in their power. And I had the best medical team ever. I'm just going to say where I was. I was at UT Medical. And the reason I want to tell you guys is because Tennessee has the heartbeat laws, which was another really fucking scary part of this entire situation. It was, you know, will they be able to help me if he still has a heartbeat, because he was totally fine and healthy and had a heartbeat and was moving around the entire time that this was going on. And so I had to have really hard conversations about, you know, is my husband going to have to walk out of here with 2 caskets, or is he going to walk out with 1? And that was a really hard conversation. But the team I had was amazing, and UT Medical is very well protected even from the heartbeat laws. So their priority was going to make sure that I was going to be okay, which again felt so selfish in the moment, but in the long term of everything, like that's what I was having to consider. I was able to slow down my contractions for like 20-minute intervals. Like for 20 minutes, I would have them. For another 20 minutes, I was able to not have them, solely through breathing and truly like disassociation from my body, so that way I wouldn't spike my blood pressure or stress myself out. And that was hard. But around 6 o'clock, I started having really harsh contractions that I was feeling, and they wanted to give me an epidural and some pain medicine. But I just thought, well, if it's gonna be bad for him, like I don't want to do it. But then they had to explain to me like, hey, there's no turning back now. And I had to have a lot of conversations about what condition he would be in if he was born alive or stillborn. And it was hard to have those conversations, but I had to go through 3 different deliveries finally on the second, which was of Jackie. I was like, please give me some medicine, please, because this is so horrible. And I was having panic attacks. But the first delivery I did was of the sac, of the amniotic sac. Normally baby comes out with that, but because he didn't, he stayed in me a little bit longer. And that was really nice, because I felt like that was a safe spot for him, and he felt, you know, just warm and protected. And then I delivered Jackie at 11:41 p.m. on October 15th, which I later learned was Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Day, which, like, what a beautiful fuck you from the universe. Really? His time of birth was his time of death, and we got to hold him and just look at every piece of him finally not on a screen and just be really in love with him. And we decided to name him. Once I saw him, I knew that was his name. His name was Jackie James, and so we named him. We held him for about an hour, and then we sent him back so that way he could go get like all of his footprints and the beautiful keepsakes that the hospital sent us home with through the UTK nonprofit nursing school that works with them. They even sent me a necklace with his thumbprint on it. They put clothes on him, which I was like so worried about, like that he wouldn't have clothes on. But there's another program that they work with that sews clothes for babies of all sizes, and so that was nice. But he was 9 ounces and 10 inches, and he was beautiful. He looked just like Logan, and it was just the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my entire life. But I really, really, really took the time that I needed, and I know it's only been 3 weeks from the time that you're hearing this, but like, I want to talk about Jackie, and I want to talk about my experience, because the only reason I knew this was the thing was because my grandmother, who is not my biological grandmother because she adopted my dad, she had cervical insufficiency or incompetence, and back in the day they didn't know that they could do a cerclage. She eventually adopted my dad, and that's how she had her baby. And so that's the only reason I knew that this was a thing. But now, because of modern medicine and research that's been done in the last 20 years, is they've learned that they could do the cerclage at 12 to 14 weeks in any future pregnancy, and that for the most part you have a 80 to 95% success rate of a full-term pregnancy and a healthy baby and mom. So I learned a lot through this, and I don't want to not talk about it because, you know, I felt really alone at first, but then like having spaces online where people have talked about this very openly helped me a lot to know that like, okay, I can have kids in the future and I'm going to be okay, and that this happens more than I think it's 1 in every 100. So it's not super common, but it's common enough. I just want to talk about that, and I wanted to talk about Jackie with you guys, but I'm so grateful for you guys for letting me have these weeks to like recover and get used to this new normal of like who I am now, because there's a before Jackie with me and then there's an after Jackie with who I am, and I feel really strong and confident in who I am now and like what I'm going to do moving forward with just, you know, my journey and everything. And I'm grateful I have the most amazing friends and you guys and family that have just been behind me. And like, even like the fact that all these podcasters, I mean, we literally had like 25 different podcasters reach out to say like, I'll step in, I'll give you cases, we're just thinking about you, what can we do, and sending me flowers. And our manager Maggie has literally bought out the crumble cookie in Knoxville like three different times to take care of me. But you know, I'm just really grateful that I have the community that I do around me, and that I had you guys. But I just don't ever want to not talk about Jackie, and I don't want to ever not talk about, you know, the journey that I had, because it was like beautifully messy and everything that it was, and though it ended like so tragically, I still can find beauty in it, and I just don't ever want to not talk about my son. And so like that's just been the hardest part, but like I'm doing a lot better now. I've like gotten back to like a little bit more of a routine. That's why we're going to the Jonas Brothers on Tuesday. One time you've listened to it, like just forcing myself to like go do things, because there was 2 weeks that I couldn't leave the house. I couldn't talk to anyone. I didn't open up my apps on my phone because obviously my algorithm is fucking horrible. Like Morgan sent me well, how many like DMs?
I've probably sent her over 100 DMs just trying to change her algorithm.
Yeah, and so we've just had like the worst time, but honestly like been really anxious about coming on and talking, because I just want everyone to know, so that way we can move forward and just continue and be like normal on the podcast with you guys. And like obviously there's gonna be a new version of normal when it comes to me, and like, you know, things I'm able to relate with and like have different feelings for. And grief has been the craziest thing I've ever experienced on this level. It hits me like at random times and random days, and my body is like still in the in-between, which is kind of like a really hard part of it all, because like you look at your body and you look kind of still like you're pregnant in the beginning, and then you have to like go through the mental thing of like, okay, like I don't have a baby in me anymore and I'm okay. And that's been hard, but going and doing things has been helping me a lot. Doing this podcast, like doing the TBB a second ago, which you guys heard on Tuesday, really helped me a lot to feel confident to come and do this. But I just don't want you guys to be like, she's not like, you know, be crying the entire episode. I don't want to do that. Like we come on this podcast and though we cover like horrible shit sometimes, and majority of the time, like one of the main things about it is like having besties and like being able to talk to you guys like you are our friends. And, you know, I've cried to Morgan many times throughout all of this and said thank you for the turkey sandwich like 19,000 times.
Name dropped, and even thank you, Morgan, for the
thank you, Morgan, for the turkey sandwich a lot through this. And I know that Patreon got me a little gift that I'm gonna open up on Piping Hot Goss for them after, or maybe not even Piping Hot Goss, just like a separate thing. But I've just had so many people reach out to me and just share their love with me and like let me know that they're thinking about me and Logan. But we're doing really good. Like I would say we've done a really healthy job at our healing and like not rushed anything. We've had like the conversations, and me and Logan have this deal like we have to talk about everything that we're feeling with it. And you guys know I don't fucking struggle. Like clearly listen to this intro. I've just told you everything in detail that happened, because in my mind, if I can't talk about something because that's my trademark is talking, then I'm not dealing with it well. And so being able to like have these conversations feels really good. Anyways, I just love you guys so much. Like you guys have been so great to me and Morgan and Em and Sierra and everyone. Eva that sent both me and Morgan 40 fucking bagels to make sure we didn't have to worry about breakfast forever. Like Parapods has been amazing. Q Code has been amazing. Our teams are
listeners. You guys have been fucking
our Patreon. We had to cut the month in half just because Morgan was having to work her regular job and run the entire podcast, so I wouldn't have to be on my computer. We did it in a really healthy way, and we took our time, and that was because of you guys allowing us to do that and not bitching or being crazy or being hateful and being like, what the fuck is going on, and allowing me to come out and post when I was ready to post. So I love you guys, and thank you for just letting me talk this out with you guys, so that way we can just have it out in the open and move on and move with, I guess I should say, not on, because there won't be a moving on. It'll be a moving with this situation, so that way we can, you know, have creeps and crimes and be us and hang out with our besties every Thursday and Tuesday like we do. But
I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you.
How long was that? 33 minutes. That's fair. I feel like that's fair.
That's fair.
You know, right?
Not
like
the time clock.
Yeah,
on the
like,
creep talk.
Just had to have that conversation, but we're gonna do some cases that me and Morgan haven't looked at in 3 weeks.
Yeah, this is the cases that we wrote for the episode that was going to drop the next day. And so I remember both of us actually very struggling to go through these.
Me too. And I haven't opened them since.
And that's fresh on our minds.
Yeah.
So I'm really
interested to see
how this is gonna go. But I'm very proud of you for
thanks
talking that through.
I'm very glad that's over. So love you guys. But yeah, we'll have like a normal intro next week. We gave you a very normal TBB because we knew that this was going to be heavy and long in the conversation, and I decided I wanted to do it on a Thursday episode just because the majority of you guys listen to these. We will get to the normal cases, and I promise we'll pick up the happiness, but I can't remember what your case was.
It's not good.
Is it
I'm just going to forewarn everyone.
Is it like it was sad? Is it dark?
No, it was just like fucking stupid.
Okay, well, good. I'm excited to hear it then. And we could just we're normal. Like me and Morgan have been able to, like, you heard the TV that was recorded literally right before this. So like we're fine. We're good. Everything's like, I'm in really good spirits with everything now. I've deep cleaned the fuck out of this house.
I mean, guys, I have never ever seen this house like this. It looks fucking crazy.
Pristine condition.
It is amazing.
And I'm gonna have to give that to my girl Taylor Swift for being on loop in my ear. You guys know I'm a fucking G, so the bitch is back. So I had to come back and really just give y'all your flowers too, because genuinely, if this was I know we had literally just talked about this on Patreon. If this was any other audience, I would not have felt the space and grace that I needed to recover the way that I did.
Yeah. We are so thankful.
So grateful for our besties. We love you so much. So thank you so much. I'm sorry that I just fucked up your Thursday morning. I know everyone's fucking beside themselves right now.
So it feels wrong to be like, if you're driving, throw that shit on cruise control.
I think it's the only way that we could do it. So
you're up first.
Let's hit them with it. No, you're up first.
Really?
If you're driving,
throw that shit on cruise control.
If you got a glass, pour that shit up stiff.
And let's get creepy. Did you know there's an online cannabis company that ships federally legal THC right to your door?
And you know that we're going to be there because they have found a way to combine THC with carefully selected functional ingredients to target nearly every mood and health concern that you can think of.
We're talking about Mood.com's incredible line of functional gummies. And don't leave yet, because you can get 20% off your first order at Mood.com with promo code CACBesties.
Forget the one-size-all supplements that only get you high. Mood's functional gummies are optimized to kick in little as 15 minutes and take you to the mood that you're looking for.
That's a quick turnaround time. Whether that's Mind Magic gummies for deep work or creativity, or even PMS support to ease cramps and balance mood swings, or if you want to turn up the spice, the Sexual Euphoria gummies to help you feel ready for action and turn every touch into a full body experience.
And you know what? That's just one of my favorite parts of a high, I gotta say, you know? Listen, you can find gummies to just get you high pretty much anywhere these days, but Mood's functional gummies combine premium, federally legal THC with targeted botanicals to help you get in the perfect mood, usually in as little as 15 minutes.
And everything will ship discreetly right to your front door. There's no dispensary lines, no awkward conversations, just better days and nights delivered to your doorstep.
Best of all, not only is every Mood product backed by a 100-day satisfaction guarantee, but as Morgan mentioned, you guys, our besties, listeners, get 20% off of your first order with code CACBesties.
So head to Mood.com, find the functional gummy that matches exactly what you're looking for, and let Mood help you discover your perfect mood. And don't forget to use promo code CACBesties when you check out to save 20% on your first order.
Okay, well, I gotta be honest, I feel a lot better now that that's done. I've been sick and nervous all day.
I know, you really have.
Like, so nervous, shitting my pants, which it felt really good.
Even last week.
Literally. I mean, I've been thinking about what I was going to say, and I just decided to get everything because that's just the best way to do it. But, like, damn, I felt a lot better today. And I took an Adderall for the first time in a long time, so I'm, like, feeling crazy. So...
I'm proud
God.
of you.
Okay,
I'm proud of
Morgan,
you.
What do you have for us today that I can't remember?
Oh, it's not good. It is the Peyton Randolph house.
Okay, let's get it.
I'm just going to read verbatim what I have here. Because I don't know. I probably wrote this with like me wanting to talk about other things. Like,
well, maybe we'll remember little things.
Yeah. Okay. I hope so. Because I don't even know what this case is
But I
about.
have truly blacked out this recording. Like, with every ounce of my being, I did that on purpose. So...
Okay, so there's something about Williamsburg, Virginia that kind of makes everything feel like you time traveled back to the 1700s, especially one specific museum that slips you back into colonial time. This is the Peyton Randolph house. It is stunning, beautiful, gorgeous, red colonial home with white shutters. By day, it's part of the Colonial Williamsburg Museum route, but by night, it's something entirely different. The story of the Peyton Randolph house begins over 300 years ago.
Jesus.
The first section of the home was built around 1715 by a man named William Robertson, who served as the clerk of Virginia's Governor's Council. But just a decade later, in 1724, the property was purchased by Sir John Randolph, one of the most prominent and wealthy men in colonial Virginia. And Sir John didn't just buy one house, he bought two. Because there was another smaller structure on this like adjacent lot. And then sometime later, his son Peyton Randolph would connect those two buildings with this like central section of the house, creating this long red mansion that we see today.
Okay.
Architecturally, it's a classic example of early Georgian style. It was very formal. Inside, it had that wood paneling, fireplaces in almost every single room, and furniture that looked like it was plucked straight from high society. Like we're talking like Vanderbilt Mansion.
It is such a colonial American house.
It really is.
It really is. You guys will see pictures of it on our Instagram so long as I'm mentally okay.
The Randolph family entertained Virginia's political elite, and some of the most powerful conversations about the future of the colonies happened right there over candlelight and probably a glass of a brandy. But the home wasn't just filled with politicians and guests. It was also maintained by enslaved men, women, and children who lived and worked on the property. Now, colonial Williamsburg historians now acknowledge their presence. Oftentimes in locations like this, these stories are kind of erased for centuries. Yeah. They don't like to talk about it, but I just wanted to make note there.
I actually saw this thing on TikTok weeks ago. I don't even remember the full details about it, but it was kind of like a situation just like this, and I don't remember where it was. Half of me wants to say it was Louisiana, but it wasn't a TikTok. I think I watched it on CBS Sunday morning show, and it was about this painting that was found, and in the back of it you could tell that it had been like redone at some point, and they had painted out a person in it. So then this painting was sent off, and it was like restored to what the original painting was, with the new paint taken off of it. And it actually had a young enslaved boy, like a young African-American boy, in the family portrait with the family that owned this like plantation, like horrible shit. Okay.
Yeah.
But the reason why this young boy was in it is because he was like kind of became a part of the family. He was so valued and like loved by the family. And then over the years, to try and erase the fact that they had enslaved people on their property, they had painted him out of the portrait.
Wow.
And so there's like
it happens all the time.
Yeah, they can't find any information about who it is, because who he was, other than just like the family like conversations that had been passed down, because they essentially burned all of it from this historic property.
And oftentimes plantation owners impregnated a lot of the enslaved women.
Yes. And so that was the thing, is they were wondering if maybe he was the son of whatever, but basically the family conversation is that his mother and father were like the family's right hand woman and man, like the wife's right hand woman and the man's right hand man, and this was their son. And so they like
respected.
I don't know, because it's as dicey as fucking ever.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But like all of that to say, whenever you said that the first time, I remember thinking of that painting and being like, yeah, it's so crazy the extent that these families later, a few centuries later, went to in order to try and hide their history. A lot of people did that, and like obviously we know that America still does it to this day, but
true that.
Yeah.
Over the years, the house passed through generations of Randolphs. Peyton Randolph himself was born in Williamsburg in 1721, and he was the oldest son of Sir John Randolph and Susanna Beverly Randolph. He went to school at the College of William and Mary before traveling to London, where he studied law at Middle Temple. By his early 20s, he was already back in Virginia practicing law. He was said to be pretty sharp. He was well connected because of who his father was, and he was very ambitious. In 1745, he married Elizabeth, or Betty, Harrison, who is the daughter of Benjamin Harrison IV. Yes, that Harrison family, which would later produce a signer of the Declaration of Independence and 2 United States presidents.
Damn.
The Randolphs were Virginia royalty in every sense of the word. But Peyton and Elizabeth, they never had children of their own. Instead, Peyton poured all of his energy into politics. He served as the Virginia's King's Attorney, then as the member of the House of Burgesses, eventually becoming its Speaker in 1766. And so I guess from what my understanding is, and from what I very vaguely remember from 3 weeks ago, is that he was like almost a liaison to the King of England at that time and the colonial Virginia.
Yes, like
but this is all happening before.
Yeah, this was like
the United States of America.
Yeah, this was right before the revolution.
Right. When tensions between the colonies and Britain began to rise, Peyton Randolph was right at the center of it all. He was said to be this voice of authority during the chaos that eventually would lead to the revolution. By 1774, he was elected the first president of the Continental Congress, making him one of the earliest leaders of what would soon become the United States. So before George Washington, there was Peyton Randolph.
That's crazy.
He was a man that was caught between the loyalty to the crown and the loyalty to his fellow Virginians. But Peyton Randolph's story ended pretty abruptly because in October of 1775, while in Philadelphia attending the Second Continental Congress, he died suddenly, likely of a stroke, it's believed, just months after the first shots of the revolution were fired.
And I'm sure
Sounds
there's
like
some
murder.
Conspiracy around that.
Yeah. His body was returned home to Williamsburg and buried in the chapel of the Wren Building at the College of William and Mary, which was only actually just a short walk from the house.
Damn.
After his death, the house remained within the family, and it had a lot of wars and a lot of illness, which we will come back to. By the early 1900s, the home was pretty weathered. It was pretty neglected until it was restored by Colonial Williamsburg in the 1930s, which is basically like their historic society.
Right.
During later construction near the property, there were some Native American burial sites that were accidentally disturbed, which, again, is another piece of its history that some believe stirred up even more restless energy beneath the soil. And actually, during the restoration of the East Wing region, it was discovered that that section of the house was built over at least 2 Native American burial sites through finding these pottery artifacts. Like I said, for nearly 3 centuries, this house had been witness to death in nearly every form imaginable: illness, accident, suicide, and even war. And it really started with Peyton Randolph's ownership. The household was struck hard during an outbreak of smallpox in the 1760s. At least 4 enslaved people are said to have died on the property, of course, and unfortunately. Sadly, their names were lost over time.
And I'm sure there's a lot more than that.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the death of Peyton himself. After the Randolph ownership, the Peachy family, the Peachies, moved in the early 1800s. Thomas Griffin Peachy and his wife Mary Monroe Peachy, which I remember we loved that
Mary
name.
Monroe Peachy.
Mary Monroe Peachy were yet again a pretty powerful, wealthy family. And they kind of brought back some life into what was this really aging home with all of their children. But many believe that the Peachys were cursed because death hit the family hard. Most of the legends centered around the Peachy children. A lot of guides today and even residents of this area tell of this young Peachy boy who loved to climb trees on the property. And one afternoon, a branch snapped, sending him crashing to the ground below, where he died instantly. But then there's also a story of a little girl, sometimes described as one of their daughters, other times described as just a young relative staying in the house. Mm-hmm. In some versions, she fell from a second-story window while playing, and in other versions, she tumbles down the staircase, striking her head on the way down.
Oh, God.
While those deaths can't be confirmed, and they haven't been confirmed today in any surviving records, what we do know is that in the early 1800s, this was a really dangerous time for children. Accidents were common, and even small injuries or fevers would turn fatal because they just didn't have the medical intervention to save if you did gash your head open.
And now we all know that if there's an accident where someone falls, you do not move that person. You wait until a doctor comes and we have a gurney and we can properly move that person.
Exactly.
They were throwing them on their backs and bringing them inside.
You would never know.
They had no idea.
Swelling.
And hell, they didn't have any form of medicine or vaccine that we have nowadays. So
exactly. And then allegedly there was also a guest who came to stay with the family who was just possibly a student from nearby William and Mary College. He reportedly fell ill with tuberculosis while staying in one of the upstairs bedrooms. It was said to be a very slow, very painful death. And the story goes that the family, the Peachy family, actually nursed him until he died. So a lot of people speculate that this is one of their nephews or nieces. It was a cousin of the Peachy family. Because for a wealthy family like that to take in somebody with tuberculosis and then nurse them, or maybe even one of their sons or daughters, it's just didn't happen then.
Remember we knew that they shipped everyone with TB out to Colorado,
right?
And had them at the Stanley Hotel and the Adirondack chairs,
literally.
And that's where they were,
and that's where the Adirondack chairs still are.
Exactly.
And then they had a male relative stay with them, and he allegedly, trigger warning, took his own life in the house's drawing room. And at the center of all of this loss was Mary Monroe Peachy, because she was the matriarch of the family who outlived nearly everybody that she loved.
Oh, that's so sad.
By the time she passed in 1836, she had buried her husband, her children, and even some of her grandchildren.
Oh, shit.
Stories say that she was rarely seen outside in her final years, and that she would prefer to sit near the front parlor windows and just would sit at that window and watch the street in silence.
Poor girl.
If you believe the lore, then you would assume that Mary never truly left that spot. Now, all of this about the Peachy family is hearsay, maybe even folklore just throughout the town. Archival records confirm that, yes, the Peachys did live there and they did die in the home, but none of those deaths appear in official registries. No newspaper obituaries, no death certificates. However, everybody in the area for generations seems to remember some sort of version of the same tragedies. The boy who fell, the girl who never made it down the stairs, the man in the drawing room, and the TB guest who died upstairs.
Okay.
So it's like none of those are confirmed, but like everyone talks about them.
But what's so crazy is like we know that back in the day they were putting their home addresses on with like death and birth announcements.
Literally.
That's crazy.
Yep.
That's wild.
I think even when we were born.
No,
Taylar.
yeah, literally. Like when I was born, it was like you send cards.
Yep. Birth announcement.
Look who was born.
1, 2, 3. Street Jane.
Yeah.
Street Jane. Street Jane.
Jane Street.
Jane Street. During the Civil War and the Battle of Williamsburg in 1862, the Peyton Randolph House was also converted into a field hospital for wounded soldiers. Across its very long and tragic history, it's said that more than 30 people have died within the Peyton Randolph House, including enslaved men and women, children, guests, soldiers, and family. So, of course, we have ghosties. The first ghost we have is Mrs. Peachy, who is our grieving matriarch. She is among the most frequently reported ghosts, and she's often described as a gaunt old lady. She'll be dressed in period clothes, frequently seen upstairs in this flowing gown and cap on her head. I have a tickle in my nose and I know it's about to come, but it's like also just like going back and forth.
Oh God.
And she seems to be more of a mourning spirit than a violent spirit.
So like a sad, not because okay, yeah, I've done it again. When you said morning spirit and period clothes, I thought she was on her period. So she was in her granny panties and she is only there seen in the mornings.
Yep, only in her chair in the mornings.
Then when my brain kicks in and says, no, bitch, that's not
morning,
what we're saying.
Yes.
But you know what? Okay, here's
what
I have to say about that. Do I think that people see the spirit? Yes. I think that a lot of her energy is just like gathered there so it sticks there. But you can't tell me that a morning spirit's not going to immediately go to the light. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Because like, she's sitting there sad because she lost everyone in her entire life. She's gonna go be with
she
them. Sees that light. She's like,
unless they're not there.
What if they're in hell?
Or they're still there at the
house.
I'm
joking.
Or they're in hell. Yeah, that definitely could be.
That'll do it. You know,
maybe some of those people might have been.
Yeah, maybe.
And then there's an apparition of the young girl. It's tied to the Peachy era, of course, and is assumed to be the little girl who fell from the windows or the stairs, depending on the story that you want to go with. Visitors report seeing a young girl in one of the upper rooms, sometimes looking out of a window or just like walking down a hallway. And then we have a lot of soldiers. Because the house was used as a hospital during the Civil War, a lot of wounded soldiers still seem to linger. Some witness reports hear heavy boots or even like, they say soldier groans, but I'm kind of thinking, how do you know the difference?
I guess like a pain, like
a hospital groan.
Yeah, like a hospital groan, because I'm sure it was used as like a fucking hospital at some point.
It was.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And it's reported that they feel pressure in what used to be the operating room or like the hallway where like they.
Oh, hell yeah, they know where the operating room was, and for sure you're hearing those groans.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
And then we have shadowy figures and faces in the windows. This house is one of the most popular houses for faces in the windows, and we will hear about that. A lot of people, even just walking by on the street or on ghost tours, claim to see shapes behind these like the curtain windows of someone looking out or someone like kind of peeking around the corner. Sometimes these are very vivid faces and sometimes they're just silhouettes. Why is there a package at my door at 6:30 at night?
Yeah, what's going on?
And what did I order? I don't know. Okay.
Terrifying.
And then we do have a very aggressive, dark entity. This entity is less common, but will present in many accounts as something that's pushing or grabbing, attempting to even drag, especially near the staircases or worse, the basement. There's a story about a guard in the basement feeling like something grabbed his legs, following by the door slamming shut. And I do think I have one of the Reddit stories that talk about that.
Yes.
I think I did.
I think you did, yeah.
Like I said, the windows are a really popular place to peek out for the ghosties. From the outside, people will see curtains like twitch almost, and then faces in the window panes and silhouettes. And this was the case for Shannon Girl on Reddit. So I'm going to read that real quick, and then we'll throw these up on the pictures. I think Shannon has pictures on the story.
If we can't use the what we'll do is we'll just put the links in the show notes below. So like, you know, the description of the episode, scroll down.
Actually, this one isn't a story, it's just the picture, and I think you'll remember it. So this is from Shannon Girl on Paranormal Encounters thread, and it says, I did a ghost tour around the Peyton Randolph house about 5 months ago. Sorry, this was posted a year ago. And after reviewing the pictures I took that night, I noticed what looks to be a very obvious face in the window. What do you think? And then just as a refresher, Taylar, that thing, the sideways thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's like Chucky. It looks like
Nelly
Chucky doll.
From Haunting of Hill House or whatever it was.
My God, it does. It really does. The dining room is another active location. A lot of the times furniture will move. People will hear whispers, footsteps, and some pretty dark shit, according to one Reddit story that I'll read at the end here. One of the upstairs bedrooms is called the Red Room, which is said to be called the most haunted room in the whole house, but I beg to differ. After you'll hear the Reddit story, I think you're going to agree that the dining room is the most haunted. Witnesses say that they've seen something sitting on the bed, only discover later that there's like indentation, like someone had literally just been sitting there. Shapes will be moving by the windows. Curtains will shift even though there is no wind. And the basement is dark as well. People have heard growling, and this is where the guards' ankles were grabbed. Flashlights will shut off. The entire house is just haunted as fuck. It's got the creaky floorboards, footsteps, doors slamming, cold spots, shadow figures, the feeling of cold hands on you, disembodied voices. Some EVPs have picked up words like get out or help.
Oh, God.
People will leave feeling drained, sick, even dizzy. And some people even get that effect just by walking by on the street and looking at the house.
Oh, God. It reminds me of that one house that you covered where the priest was walking outside and just dropped dead on the concrete.
Oh, my God. What was that?
I don't know. I can see the house. I remember looking at pictures of it. I don't know what that was, but damn. That's what it reminds me of.
And people, again, are always finding shit in their pictures. So this last story I have for you is from Potential Wolf 4742, and it's on the Paranormal Reddit thread, and its title is Colonial Williamsburg. Sorry, it keeps jumping me down to the bottom. 18 female, just participated in a ghost tour in Colonial Williamsburg. The tour is set up in a manner where you have a storyteller who walks you around some of the historic buildings, which you go inside of while they tell the stories. I've always considered myself relatively sensitive to the paranormal and spiritual activity. However, tonight was the first time I have ever seen physical manifestations. I was particularly perturbed while we were inside of the Randolph house, which belonged to Peyton Randolph and Elizabeth Betty Randolph. When we entered the home, the door to the dining room, the most active room in the house currently, was cracked open. Keep in mind the staff locks these doors once they close down the houses for the day. Myself and my friend stood with our backs to the dining room door as our guide told us about the history of the house and some of the sightings that have been passed down from families who lived in the house as well as workers and guests. My eyes kept being drawn to the door, and that is when I saw a charred black hand wrap around the door like it was grabbing the door to open it. My friend, who was a major skeptic, and I both heard footsteps in the dining room as well, and some woman next to us heard giggling, likely from the spirits of the little girl who passed in the house, who were a part of the Peachy family, and believed to pass at the age of 2 or maybe even 8 years old. That's a big jump.
That's a big age.
What my friend and I heard, felt much more malevolent. I became lightened, felt like I may pass out, and felt an overwhelming sense of doom for the majority of the time that I was inside the house until the feeling suddenly stopped and felt like it had shifted beneath me. At the end of the tour, I approached the tour guide to let her know about my experience as well as my friends, and she told us that they knew about the presence. I described it as being a large, shadowy, masculine energy, which she confirmed is what many of the staff have experienced or seen as well. A security guard locked in the basement where they believe this spirit resides and would explain me feeling like the presence had moved beneath me. by said spirit. So the security guard gets locked in the basement by said spirit as it closed the deadbolt on the outside of the door. Keep in mind, colonial deadbolts have to be done manually as they need to be lifted up and slid into place.
Right.
While the security guard was trapped down there, he claims that he felt something grab his ankle. They have also caught footage of the spirit crossing the street by the front door and on the porch. And it also always appears headless.
Oh my God.
Has anyone else had similar experiences in this home? Is there any rational explanation for this? And there's not many comments on it, but we joked about this last time. Someone comments says, not quite like that, worse. Like, and okay. OP original poster is like, oh, ? And this person goes, indeed. I've slowly been posting my experiences. I have many. On this particular one, I still have the scar.
Oh my God.
Are you the headless man on Reddit?
What the fuck?
Why
are you talking in code right now?
Anyway, that is the Peyton Randolph house. Yeah, I don't know why he's many indeed.
Oh,
worse.
Okay.
Many experiences worse. I have scars.
Fucking talking in shorthand.
Okay, then fucking tell the story.
Hey, stop sitting here clicking.
Should I click on their thing?
No, don't even give them a click.
Taylar, what do you have for us today?
Well, no, I want to talk about you for a minute.
Okay, Let's talk about me.
This. Number one, we should go, if we ever find ourselves in Colonial Williamsburg.
I would be down.
We should go to a tour of this house to get a grip. But I do want to say this. I do always feel like dining rooms or like living rooms or front door, like foyers and that's foyer, whatever you want to call it. I feel like those are hot spots because of how much energy goes in and out. And like, you think about when you're eating like at a table.
You're all gathered there.
Mm-hmm. That's why I'm like so surprised that you don't hear more about like haunted restaurants, which I'm sure a restaurant wouldn't want to say if it was haunted or
fine.
not.
I'll find one next week.
Oh, a haunted restaurant. Hey, I have one for you in Nashville, The Bars.
Oh, wait, we've talked about this, but not on mic.
Not on mic. You should do one of those because that would be a good.
What is he making? Because it smells so good.
I don't know. That's what I was just kind of thinking. Because you know what?
Don't tell me.
It's got to be ground turkey.
No way.
It's either that or chicken thighs. So nothing that's exciting.
No way. That's not ground turkey.
I think he's making a ground turkey chili because that's the only way I'm going to eat it. My stomach just started growling.
I could smell some chili there.
We're making it with like a ton of frozen tomatoes that we had left that we are like, we need to get rid of these fucking tomatoes because they're taking up so much room in the freezer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I am curious though about like this ghost being or this malevolent spirit being able to like be in the dining room and then shift its energy underneath of you, but also being spotted outside, like crossing.
I feel like those are two different spirits. I feel like
so too.
The malevolent, like bad one that's like at the dark claw hand thing, that's just probably
and
one
also,
that's
did
hiding
the house
behind.
ever burn down? Because why is the hand charred?
Well, to me, that's just like a demonic presence. Like,
you're right.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, to me, that's just like this place has a lot of energy, and of course, there's going to be some nasty ass spirit that's going to rear its head there.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Actually, I didn't think of that, but now that yes.
I feel like the headless situation might be like a soldier that was thinking like either had come in and then something crazy happened or
could be, yeah.
And that's just, but I've never understood why.
I'm also thinking of hanging.
Yeah. I've never understood what, or like beheading, like, on this, like.
Yeah, no, because that's literally what
they did that
the Crown did.
Yes.
So when they came here, they were still beheading.
Yes. I mean, and we know those little things that they put their hands and head through and shit and did that.
Guillotine.
Like, yeah. So there's like just a lot. I'm sure there's a lot more history there that's just been hidden that we may never know about or eventually will know about. But yeah, there's got to be something going on there.
Cool.
That is crazy. We should definitely go. Okay, well, thanks for that.
You're welcome.
So the case that I have for you guys today is of April and Justin Barber. April Stacy Lott was born on April 21st, 1975 to Donald and Nancy Lott as the first of their three children. So it was April, Julie, and Kendon. born and raised in Kingfisher, Oklahoma, which is a really, like, I didn't even know this was a fucking place. And we've done so many cases that, like, we're pretty aware of, like, majority of places.
Yeah.
So I had to Google this one and, like, really do a deep dive, but it's a really small town just northwest of Oklahoma City. And April attended Hennessy High School.
It's probably where Seth is from.
No, I
Redneck.
think he's not from there. Not him catching a stray, like... It's the first episode back, and Seth immediately.
Sorry, Seth.
Catches a stray. That is so funny. So Hennessy High School was the high school that she went to, where during her senior year at just the age of 17, oh, sorry, this is sad. Her mother would pass away from a harsh and fast battle with cancer on January 4th, 1993. This was devastating for April and her family. Her father, Don, who was Nancy's high school sweetheart, fell apart. So they had all gone to Hennessy High School, like both of her parents and everything. He just could not bear living life without the love of his life, and he turned to alcohol and drugs as a coping mechanism, forcing 17-year-old April to grow up fast and have to be a primary caregiver for her younger siblings, who were just 9 and 1 at the time. Julie was 9, her little sister, and then Kendon was only 1. With Julie saying, and so little sister saying in an interview with 48 Hours, quote, "She took care of us. She would get me up for school, get me off to school, and cook us dinner. She just took the place of our mother," end quote. From an older sister, that I know, like, she didn't even think twice about it, but like that just breaks my heart, because, you know, she just probably felt the weight of the world, and then also with her dad having to like go through with what he went through. Not saying that what he did was right, because it's not, but like, you know, you never know how someone's going to grieve in a situation like that. I just hate that for her. So when it came time for her to graduate high school in May of 1993, April was more motivated than ever to pursue her career in medicine, with dreams of caring for cancer patients like those who cared for her mother, and also because she wanted to be able to provide for her siblings. So she wanted to have a career that would be solid and stable. She enrolled at OSU, Oklahoma State University, where she met her best friend Amber through her sorority Kappa Delta, same as my sister.
Aww,
which is where she got a bit of her youthful spark back after having to be a mother to her siblings so young, because I think her siblings went and lived with their aunt and like other family members and were being raised by them, but like April was always home when she had the chance to be. But this, like, being in a sorority and being able to go to college really allowed her to be a kid, you know, a young adult again, and like have a little bit of fun. Youthfulness, exactly. She was always happy, excited to chat and talk with anyone, so bubbly and so funny. In 1996, she transferred to OU Health and Allied Sciences, where she worked on getting her degree in radiology. While there in 1998, at the age of 23, April would meet Justin Barber, a top student at the University of Oklahoma's in the University of Oklahoma's MBA program, and the two immediately hit it off. Justin was a good-looking guy for the bombshell April. Absolutely stunning.
I remember
the pictures.
Yeah, she's beautiful.
But that's not what drew her to him. Justin, unlike these several guys that she had dated over the years, was extremely motivated with set goals for his future and career, and he, just like her, knew exactly what he wanted to do and how he needed to move in order to obtain his goals. So in 1999, April graduated. And again, that was really attractive to April, because she didn't want this guy that was like, I don't know, I'll figure it out. Like, she wanted someone that came up with a plan. Like, she had a plan for what she wanted to do, because at the same time, she's like, if I'm going to be in a relationship with you, if I'm going to marry you, you have to also like be a part of my life, which means that we're taking care of my siblings.
Right.
So in 1999, April graduated with her degree in radiology, and Justin with his MBA.
It was probably so hard too to find a guy that was so young and so accommodating, willing to
like have to do what they were going to have to do. So the couple set off to the Bahamas to celebrate their graduation, where the two secretly eloped just 10 months after meeting, which everyone thought was crazy, but these two were so perfect for each other. And shortly after, they moved to Georgia for incredible career opportunities that they had been offered, bringing Julie and Kendon along with them. So again, like what Morgan was saying, her little siblings moved in, and at this point in time, Julie was a teenager and Kendon was in elementary school. So these are, I'm pretty sure Julie would have been like in middle school area, but like a young teen, you know. So that's a big jump to graduate college, go in, elope, and then having to move states and also move with this girl that also they only knew each other for 10 months before they got married, and then also being willing to do this. So like this was in game, like they were perfect for each other. However, this was hard on the newlyweds. So not long after, the decision was made that the kids needed to return to Oklahoma, where they would complete school with the community that they were raised up in and be primarily raised by family members. It was a really hard decision, but it was what was best for everyone. And I mean, think about it. Imagine, like I said, being newlyweds, number one, but only having known each other for 10 months before getting married, moving to a brand new state for the first time, fresh out of college, raising kids, trying to make ends meet while getting to know each other and how it is to live with someone and starting careers. Like even
it's hard,
even for Morgan and Aaron, or me and Logan, like we had dated for Morgan longer than me and Logan, but like we had dated for years before we moved in with our partners. And when we did move in with our partners, there's still like growing pains with how you live with one another.
Is there?
Right. It still is. If Logan puts another glass on the corner of the counter, then I don't know what we're going to do, you know?
Right.
And then just 2 years into their marriage, Justin got an incredible career opportunity that would change everything for the couple, becoming an executive at his company. But the only problem is that he had to move to Jacksonville, Florida. And at the same time, April was also offered a major promotion that she had been working tirelessly for that would keep her in Georgia, but in a different city in Georgia. Though it was a really, really hard decision, the couple knew that they had to knuckle and buckle in order to achieve the goals that they had set for themselves and for the relationship in order to reach the lives that they wanted to live with each other. So they decided that they were going to take the jobs, which had them moving 3 hours apart from each other, and they just made it work. Like we were going to commit to seeing each other every weekend. So they would rotate. Like April would go down there one weekend, and then the next weekend Justin would come up to her, and that's exactly what they did. They made it work.
My marriage would survive that, but
no, it would be really, really hard.
I mean, we did long distance dating throughout college, and that was hard enough.
It's hard, exactly. They made it work, and everything was going great. Both April and Justin were excelling in their careers. Their relationship was the best that it had been, because even though sometimes it was really tough to have that distance, they were willing to make that drive to each other. And as I say, like, distance really does make the heart grow fonder. It makes the time that you're spending with your husband or your partner to not be bitching over stupid shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it's hard. Fast forward to August of 2002, April drives to Jacksonville for a weekend of love planned by her sweet husband to celebrate their third wedding anniversary. On the night of Saturday, August 17th, 2002, the couple went to April's favorite restaurant, Carrabba's, for a nice dinner. I want Carrabba's so bad right now.
Why didn't we order it? We knew this was
we knew that Carrabba's was going to be a part of this conversation, and we didn't get chicken brine for me. So I'm pissed about it. So they went to go to Carrabba's, and then they headed to the bar where they drank, danced, and played a few rounds of pool, after which April wanted to go on a drive to one of their favorite spots. It was like this remote state beach area in Ponte Verde Beach. Sorry, it's called Ponte Verde Beach in St. Augustine, which is not that far away from Jacksonville, where they had gone to spend alone time after going out for April's birthday earlier that year. They parked the car, kicked off their shoes, and began walking down the beach in the moonlight. And it was really quiet, with only the sounds of the water crashing and no one for miles. It was pretty dark too, so like secluded.
That at the beach, though.
Oh my God, you only have the moonlight, and it's just like this. The beach sounds different at night.
Yeah.
When all of a sudden a man walks up to them. He is being erratic with his movements, and he's screaming at the couple, and he's grabbing at them, which is when Justin realizes that this man has a gun.
Holy shit.
Immediately, Justin lunges at the man, and the two began fighting when shots began to ring out, and everything went black. The next thing Justin knew, he was moving before his eyes were even fully open, sprinting around, feeling around on the sand. It was dark, and his eyes were having a really hard time adjusting. His ears were ringing, adrenaline was pumping, and he was feeling sluggish and groggy, but frantic as he's screaming out for April, feeling around in the sand around him for her. Before he knew it, he was on his feet, running down the shoreline, screaming for April, for help, for anyone. Once his eyes finally adjusted to the darkness of the night, he finally saw her. 27-year-old April, floating face down in the shallow water. He runs to her, pulls her to the shore, shaking her to wake her, but nothing was working. I
couldn't even fucking imagine.
She was not responding. Justin pulls April to the dry sand and realizes that she has been shot. He tries to stop the bleeding, screaming out for help as all of this is going down, but quickly realizes that he is alone and their attacker could still be out there. He has no idea how long he had been blacked out for. So he tries to scoop up his wife's limp body once and twice, but he just could not get a grip on her. It felt like he was trying to run in a dream, with Justin saying in an interview, quote, "My body was just not responding the way that it should have." You know, like when you're in a dream and you're like, why can't I fucking pick this up? Or why am I running in water right now when everybody else is sprinting past me?
My nightmares were always... Sorry, it's not the time for this, but I'm just going to tell you, doing cartwheels, but just like, or back handsprings, but just like my hands and arms not locking out.
Yes, like that's exactly.
And I couldn't
where
do
it's
my
just like sluggish,
pass.
and you're like, what is happening? But this was happening to him in real life, in a very panicking moment that you're having. So still in a panic, he grabs her by her waistband of her jeans, and he just drags her to the boardwalk stairs, which is several hundred feet away from where they had been attacked and where she was found in the water. Because, you know, they had been walking down the beach from the boardwalk. They had parked at the top of the boardwalk and then walked down the beach. So his adrenaline was sputtering by the time he got there. You already know how hard it is to walk in sand just on a regular day.
Oh yeah.
When even there's like those like things, those plastic things with the holes.
Sand is my worst enemy.
I'm like, and it really does feel like quicksand. Just regular sand just feels like quicksand. His adrenaline is sputtering. He's getting so tired, and Justin tries throwing April over his shoulder to carry her up the stairs again, but he can't do it. He tries to drag her body up the stairs, but he has no strength left. He couldn't understand what was happening. He was a pretty big guy, and April was a very petite woman, which is when it computes. He had been shot too. Not once, not twice, but 4 times. And he was losing lots of blood. In a last-ditch effort to try and save his wife, he had to do what felt like the unthinkable, which was leaving her behind. Mustering up the last little bit of energy he had left to get help for her. He runs up the stairs, down the boardwalk, and to the highway, flagging down cars, with 3 passing by and probably locking their doors as they did. But after those 3 went past him, there were no headlights in sight. Frantic, Justin runs to his and April's truck, puts the pedal to the floor, racing 10 miles to the nearest town, driving erratically, honking with his flashers on, hoping and praying that a police officer would spot him and pull him over to be able to help him. Justin finally gets to a major intersection where he jumped out of the car and starts screaming for help. A man in the car beside him was able to use a cell phone to call 911. Within minutes, an ambulance arrives and Justin tells the paramedics exactly what happened. They reported this as an aggravated robbery with 2 victims, one that was unaccounted for, to the St. John's Sheriff's Department, telling them where to go as they rushed Justin to the emergency room. Detective Howard Cole and responding deputies were able to very quickly locate April at the base of the stairs where Justin was forced to leave her behind. The paramedics that were just minutes behind them were radioed that the second victim had been located. However, there was no need to rush with sirens and lights because unfortunately, she was pronounced dead upon arrival.
Oh man.
So this very quickly went from an aggravated robbery to a homicide. I know. Detective Cole then rushed to the ER to interview Justin while crime scene investigators began shutting down, lighting up, and photographing the entire crime scene, which, mind you, was a fucking beach at night with no lights. When he arrived, he learned that Justin was stable and awake, continuously asking about his wife as medical professionals were treating him for his gunshot wounds. One to the chest, one to the left shoulder, one at the base of his neck, and one in his left hand.
Holy shit. And he did all that.
Yes. Dragging her. Though these were alarming, his wounds were actually non-life threatening by the grace of God. The second that Detective Cole walked in and introduced himself, Justin asked him one thing: how is my wife? Unfortunately, right then, Cole had to break the news that April didn't make it. Justin was absolutely distraught, but Detective Cole reminded him that in order for them to find the guy that did this to them, he needed Justin to stay strong and give him every single detail that he could remember while the memories were fresh. So Justin told Cole the events that I just walked you guys through before describing their attacker. A white man wearing a baggy t-shirt and a ball cap. When asked about the man's size and build, Justin said, taller than me and stronger than me. But that's really all Justin could remember at that time because it happened so fast and completely in the dark. Like they only had the moonlight with them. The next day, Justin was released from the hospital and immediately went home to Oklahoma with April's remains to be with their families and Julie and Kendon. So she could be laid to rest in Hennessy Cemetery right beside her mother. with Justin flying back immediately after the funeral to be able to help in the investigation, spending 10 hours his first day back in Florida, like got off the flight and went straight to the detectives at the crime scene so that way they could have him retrace every single step that they took that night. Finding out who did this to April was all that he cared about, and he would do anything to make sure that he was found, which is why he was getting really frustrated with investigators for seemingly overlooking details that they had collected, like the fact that Justin and a witness reported seeing a car parked at the beach around the same time that April was killed, or the fact that there had been several things that happened to April in the weeks leading up to her death, like her car being broken into just 3 weeks prior to her murder and her house just before that. It got to the point that April went and bought herself a stun gun to keep in bed with her every single night because she lived alone since they lived separately, and she felt like she had been being stalked. He was especially mad when they weren't taking him seriously when telling them about several men that had, quote, romantic interest in April, which he and she both believed were the culprits of these break-ins and these potential stalking incidents. Justin gave them every single name that he could think of and begged them to listen, but it all fell on deaf ears with these investigators. Despite everyone's pain and frustration, very quickly, the case went cold. Weeks turned into months and months turned into years. Before they knew it, it was July of 2004. Justin was now living in Portland, Oregon, after a transfer made by his company. He had a new girlfriend who he was very open with about losing his wife and working through his trauma, refusing to go a day without wearing his wedding band around his neck, unable to forgive himself for having to leave April while he went and searched for help. And as far as everyone knew, April's case was cold, which is why everyone was so shocked when the St. John's Sheriff's Office announced that an arrest had been made in the murder of 27-year-old April Barber. And the man's name was Justin Barber.
Oh my God.
You see,
I forgot all about that.
Okay, good.
I really did. We really did black it out.
I know we both did because it was so traumatizing and horrible.
Oh yeah, I fucking hate that, man. Okay, I'm ready now.
You here now. You see, April's case was never cold. Investigators just had to move methodically for 2 years in order to get the evidence that they needed to prove that Justin was April's killer. Something that Detective Cole suspected from the very day he spent those 10 hours with Justin right after the funeral at the crime scene, retracing those steps. With those suspicions being confirmed not long after when interviewing April's best friend Amber from her sorority and family members, but specifically her aunt who was raising Julie and Kendon and was like, I think it was her mom's sister. So she was like a mother figure to April after the loss of her mother.
Okay, yeah.
So back on that day when they spent those 10 hours on the beach retracing their steps, Detective Cole realized that though Justin was often breaking down and crying throughout this process, there were no tears falling from his eyes or on his face. And Cole found this weird, but chalked it up to maybe him like wiping them quickly or just simply being out of tears, considering it was like immediately after April's funeral. But then not long after, Justin was showing Cole where he stood in the road attempting to flag down those 3 cars that passed him by before having to drive into town, which is when Cole realized that only one single 911 call had come in that night. The one from the man in the intersection where Justin was picked up at by the ambulance. Now, if Justin really would have been in the middle of the road, covered in blood, shot 4 times with both of his and his wife's blood, just to tell you about the sheer volume of blood that would have been on him, Detective Cole knew that at least one of those 3 cars, maybe 2 of those 3 cars, would have called 911 that had reportedly whizzed by Justin.
Surely.
But they hadn't.
Because there would have been blood everywhere.
And like, even if someone ran out in the middle of the road and I felt not safe enough to pull over, I would still call 911.
Absolutely.
And then the 2 of them got into the car and began driving the 10 miles to the intersection that the man called 911 for Justin. And as they're driving, they pass a 24-hour McDonald's, a 24-hour Walgreens, a 24-hour Shell gas station, and several homes.
And those are all lit up like a damn nightclub.
You're coming up on one. It's like a beacon. It's like a north light, especially if you're in a situation like this. So Cole asked Justin, why didn't you stop at any of these places? To which Justin said that he didn't want to wake up some old man talking about going to like the houses. And then about the like lit up places, he was like, I just had tunnel vision. I didn't want to, there was no one working in there that I could see. I didn't see them there. Like, you fucking saw. This is fucking bright as hell. Mm-hmm. And then Detective Cole had Justin sign off on a piece of paper to solidify a statement, something that's very routine and have been done several times throughout this process. You know how it is. Like, this is your sworn statement that you're giving in. But that day, Detective Cole realized something. Justin was right-handed, which stood out only when you consider the fact that he had been shot 4 times, all of which happened to only be on his left side. And how convenient it is that none of his injuries happened to be life-threatening. A neck shot, chest shot.
Yeah, because he couldn't swap it up with the left because then it wouldn't be as accurate.
Right.
This man was not ambidextrous.
And how convenient, I already said that. Now, this was odd to Detective Cole, but he couldn't possibly believe that someone would be so fucking insane to shoot themselves point blank 4 times in very sensitive places and be able to survive that. You know what I mean? But then Cole realized when reading through April's autopsy findings that Justin's blood was not found anywhere on her pants. The same pants that he claimed to drag her by several hundreds of yards from the shore to the stairs by hand. In fact, his blood was only found on the top of her shirt near her shoulders. And mind you, he had been shot in his left hand, so he's going to have to be using 2 hands to drag her to the stairs from the shore. Several hundred feet, yards, whatever I said. No blood, only on her shoulder. This is when Detective Cole got calls from both Amber, April's Katie's sister and best friend, as well as her aunt, who was like a mother to her. I think her name is Aunt Patty, but I could be wrong. Both of which very quickly confirmed his suspicions surrounding Justin. They explained that everything got weird around the time that Julie and Kendon were sent back to Oklahoma, with Julie and Kendon saying that Justin was very intense and controlling, always worrying about what others thought about him and his family. He wanted to be a noble, good guy that everyone loved and looked up to and thought was hot, which is why he loved having the kids living with them under his control and under his roof, and was livid when they left home because he loved telling people around them, at his work, anyone that they met in their new state, that, oh, he was raising his wife's little siblings, that their mother died of cancer, and used it as a tactic to make people think highly of him. Like, oh, this is such a good guy. So to him, it looked as if he had failed, and it was embarrassing to him when they moved back home. Another example of his obsession with his appearance is that he would put on a pair of his high school jeans once a month to make sure that they still fit him. And if they didn't fit him, he would fast and run until they did.
What?
An obsession that he also held over April.
You're a
always
little boy
on
in high
her.
school.
Exactly. Always on her about her weight and appearance, which is why she was honestly a little happy when he moved 3 hours away from her, because she didn't have to worry about all of his fucking comments all the time.
Look, there's one thing about having your own self-body issues, but the woman you love is fucked up.
Crazy. However, when they would see each other, she would be so stressed out about making sure that she looked good and thin for him, with her friends always saying that she would always be incredibly paranoid about her weight all the time. Things started to change a few months after Justin moved to Jacksonville, though, when April began to suspect that Justin was having an affair with a woman that he would play tennis with. She told Amber, her best friend, about this, and the two of them did as much sleuthing as possible for 2002, but they could never figure out who this woman was or what her name was. But when Amber tells this to Detective Cole, the friend, he was able to easily track this woman down, because he was like, well, good news for you. You don't have to do amateur sleuthing. I'm a fucking detective.
Professional sleuther.
Okay. He found out that this woman's name was Shannon, and she worked for the agency that Justin's company would rent cars from. So Cole asked Shannon to come in, and she did, and immediately was like, I know what this is about, and I'm just going to tell you everything. She was honest from the jump, explaining that it all started off as a very social, like, work relationship. Then they got social, so they started going out, getting drinks, and would chat for long periods of time, but it very quickly progressed into a sexual relationship. And Justin wasn't so honest about this when confronted by Detective Cole. At first, that is, adamantly denying the affair, until Cole said, well, actually, I have Shannon in the next room over, so I'm just going to bring her in, because how weird that she would,
Why would that woman make that up?
We'll confront her together if you're lying. And immediately Justin's like, no. Okay, you got me.
Perfect image. He does not want even her to come in and see him in this one state in trouble.
That's just so crazy. This prompted investigators to get a search warrant for Justin's apartment and devices just weeks after April's death, which is when they found paperwork that confirmed exactly what April's Aunt Patty had told Detective Cole. You see, both April and Patty found it odd that not long after Justin moved to Jacksonville, he decided to take out a $2 million life insurance policy on April. And in his apartment, they found the paperwork to prove this, that he had done this, and it was currently, just weeks after April's murder, in the process of filing a claim for. So Detective Cole asked Amber April's bestie, if she could think of any reason for Justin to want this large policy on April. And she said, yeah, 100%, something that April had been aware of and was very livid about. Come to find out, Justin was in serious debt after some stock market losses following 9/11 and living lavish in this new town, acting like he was the richest bitch on the planet. He was broke as fuck and spending money faster than he or April could make it. The debt plus the affair, having speculations about it, April was done. She wanted out. She was having to pay for his lifestyle, meanwhile slaving away, working as hard as she could. So just before their 3rd-year anniversary, she told Justin that it was over and she was leaving him. He begged and pleaded for her to stay, saying to give him just one more chance, or at least one last weekend together to try and talk it out, which was the only reason that April even went to Jacksonville in the first place, went to that fucking Carrabba's date, not knowing that from that very moment that she agreed to go, Justin had began planning the, quote, perfect murder. He couldn't let her leave him. He couldn't be broke. He couldn't be divorced, and he didn't want to be embarrassed. Things that Justin couldn't handle. These are all things on the list that his image problems. So he began Googling where and how to shoot yourself without killing yourself, specifically Googling where to shoot yourself in the chest and angles of the bullets to travel in order to be survivable. And finally, an hour before going to dinner with April at Carrabba's, he downloaded an MP3 audio file of the Guns N' Roses song Used to Love Her, which he played on repeat as he got ready, like as his anthem. So let me just read you some of the lyrics to the song so you can understand why this is so fucking insane. Such bitchin', fussin' and cussin', I used to love her, but I had to kill her. I used to love her, yeah, but I had to kill her. I had to put her 6 feet under, and I can still hear her complain. She's buried right in my backyard. Oh yeah, I had to kill her. I knew I'd miss her, so I had to keep her. She's buried in my backyard. Well, yeah, I used to love her, but I had to kill her. I used to love her, but I had to kill her. She bitched so much, she drove me nuts, and now I'm happier this way.
Wow.
Yep. And did I mention that
I hope they play that on repeat in his cell.
Right. Just minutes before handing
madness.
his computer over to police the day of the search warrant was executed, he deleted the song from it. Like they wouldn't see the timestamp of him deleting it.
Like they aren't the police.
Right. Fucking guilty as sin, truly.
Yep.
The case goes to trial 4 years after April's murder in 2006. And after an intense battle between the prosecution and the defense, Justin Barber was found guilty of the first-degree premeditated murder of his wife, 27-year-old April Stacy Lott. I'm not even going to give her his last name in that. With the jury recommending the death penalty, but the judge only sentencing him to life in prison without the possibility of parole, because at the end of the day, a lot of the stuff was circumstantial evidence in all of it. And also, I didn't look this up. It only dawned on me now. I wonder why the fuck they didn't, or if they did look into if there's any truth to this, he had to be the one that set up the break-in of her car and her house, right?
For sure.
That could not have just been happenstance.
Right. There's no way.
There's no way.
No, they had to make it look like she had a stalker.
Yeah.
Or somebody that was after her. So, wait, what's the time frame of the murder and when they arrested him?
2002. August of 2002, and then 2004 was the arrest. So
you know,
he thought
a little bit better.
It is
that
he thought he was
cashed
good.
in on his life insurance policy.
He thought he was good.
He was living his perfect life. He did
new
it.
girlfriend.
He got away with it, and boom, life explodes.
It just explodes in front of your face. Exactly.
I hate that. I wish that didn't happen,
that he
but
didn't
it
have any
honestly
freedom.
Makes it a little
Sweeter.
bit more like you got a taste.
Yeah. Well, and he thought he got away with it.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, these fucking police. He had everyone thinking that they're not doing anything. Like they're not doing it right. We got to find this. Like it's going to be up to us. And maybe one of these days, and then boom.
And they say those that infiltrate themselves the most with a case are very guilty.
Always. I mean, he had to fly back immediately and spend 10 hours because he didn't want them out of his sight. But meanwhile, he's doing the most guilty shit while he's there. Anyways, that's the case.
All I know, Taylar, is that if anything happened around, I don't even want to say that. I'm not even going to say that. Our Google searches are fucked.
Oh.
Is what I want to get to.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Because you guys know I Googled after researching this, where to shoot yourself.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, you have to.
You got to.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to know. Like.
Yeah, no, we're fucked. I mean.
Yeah.
Put this on record.
Guys, put this on record right now.
That we do it out of
research
and curiosity.
And that's that.
and we will never act on it.
No. Okay, before we get off of here, there's 2 things that I wanted to mention that I forgot to mention in the beginning. One of the things that is really, sorry to like switch modes again. That's really the way that I'm handling this. I'm just switching modes like you've never seen before.
And that's okay.
And that's how we're going to do it. I wanted to say that one of the things that really has helped me on my like healing journey, and like the timeline I thought was like horrible in the beginning, but like one of the things that was like a blessing in disguise for me was having All Souls Day, All Saints Day, Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead, to be able to celebrate and like learning about the proper ways to like celebrate and create ofrendas and an altar and doing all that. And I got to do that for Jackie, and that helped me so much through all this. But one thing that I didn't even mention because it's so implied is I've got to talk about him is Logan and all of this. Logan has been amazing and everything, and I know that like one of the key things that me and Morgan do here is never going to give men their flowers, but we love our boys.
We're actually bowing down to him.
Yeah,
I am. Like
truly, like Logan has been the strongest and like really held on to make sure I was okay, because it was obviously like he was scared and didn't know what was going on, knew less than I did about what was going on. And he, the whole time, was making sure that Morgan and everyone knew what was going on. McKenna was doing that for me, too. So that way I didn't have to even look at my phone. And he's just been so protective over me and making sure that, like, no one's coming to me when I'm not ready with something. I mean, he's just been great. And, like, you know, obviously, like, he lost a baby and all of this, too. And, like, lost a life that we had thought of that we had. And he has just been the best. And I can't talk about him too much because I'll cry, but I realized in the whole beginning I didn't even get to talk about him, but because it's just kind of implied, like I literally would not be sitting here right now if it weren't for Logan literally making sure that I'm just taken care of and healing properly. So I just wanted to do that because I heard him in there cooking us dinner and I was like, damn.
I know, and I'm like, does that include bringing us a bowl? Or
I know. Are you gonna hand deliver it, or is it gonna be sitting there whenever we're done, or like what's gonna happen?
No, he really has been.
He's been the best. He's really like, if I, you know how, you know that stupid song, that's like country song, where it's like, I thought I loved you then. I thought I loved you then. I've always said that about Logan. Like I always thought.
What song?
It's this song. It's like, and I thought I loved you then. And it's talking about how you think you love someone so much, like when the day you get married to them, and then like something as days go on, you're like, well, I love them even more today than I loved them the day that I married them, or the day that they proposed to me, or the day that we met. Like I thought I loved you then. That's like how I feel with this. Like my love for Logan has only gotten more like deep and not that to say like I just didn't know I had the capability of loving someone as much as I love Logan, but especially like seeing him become a dad in the worst way possible has been like one of the things that I love the most about him, while also being like a very big, because I'm not someone that lets someone protect me very much, and I don't like taking handouts or getting help or asking for help. And you guys know that I've seen people commenting on this, like we know that this has got to be horrible for Taylar, because it has been. I've had to let people come give me turkey sandwiches, you know what I mean?
Lots of turkey sandwiches.
Lots of turkey sandwiches, but I've been so grateful because like I took the hit. I really let myself feel the hit bad. So thank God I did. And I was really strict and still have been very strict about like, you know, smoking or drinking anything, because I don't want to numb any pain that I'm feeling. I want to make sure that I'm like feeling everything through, because
and that's strong as fuck.
That's hard to do. But when you know, and you know, we've talked about this many times, when you know that addiction lives in your family, that's something that you have to be very aware of in your life. I just wanted to make sure that I talked about him. I can't go into too much detail because I literally will never stop crying, but like I just love him so much. And oh no, I'm becoming a husband girl. Look at that.
No,
I'm a husband's girl. Look at that. Everybody watch out. So anyways, guys, I feel really good about, sorry your cases are sad, you know, but and this was like a really sad episode. I like totally just brought it down.
Okay.
Everyone
is going to be supportive of you. And
yeah. And we had to talk about it because, you know, me and Morgan, we can't keep our mouth shut. But I'm going to open up my gift from Patreon, and we got to do some ads. So love you so much. Thank you guys.
I'm so glad you're back.
I'm so glad to be back. I missed you guys so much. Okay.
Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
I forced everyone that came on the podcast to say
I heard
love
you.
Bye.
I listened to him, by the way, the other day.
I was like, say it.
I heard you say it. Em didn't even protest it first. You're like, just say it, Em. Love you guys. Bye.